The magic of the mountains is perhaps one of the world's best kept secrets. Vertical miles of rock, ice and snow seduce millions. But only a few truly unravel the mystery of these treasures of our planet. Climbing a mountain peak is a different game altogether. The majestic mountains can break a climber both emotionally and physically. The fear of the unknown, the fear of no return, and above all, the fear of staying alive beats with every gasping breath. This is the journey of a group of people who defied all odds to take on the grandiose of Mount Everest and Mount Kilimanjaro earlier this year. Their experience to discover what lies on the top of these wonderful facets of Earth will indeed take your breath away.
So there is a famous quote by John Muir, I guess everyone knows it, mountains are calling and we must go.
Edmund Hillary himself said, when you conquer mountain, you conquer yourself, you don't conquer a mountain.
So beating all those difficulties, going and standing there on that mountain and seeing the sun come out of the shoulders of Everest, that's the most beautiful moment and the beautiful thing that I have in my head. So before even reaching to the Gorakshep, which is almost like 4 to 5 kilometers away from the Everest base camp, you would have already trekked around 80 or 100 plus kilometers. So your body is tired. You are already gained an altitude of 5,000 meters. And that particular day, you need to climb again 600 meter altitude for a distance of around 2.5 kilometers. It was snowing. It was snowing very bad, and there was high winds. Because you cannot see anything, you cannot open your eyes, so basically you cannot track where you're going. So even though we started around 3, considering that we'll reach early and we'll be able to see the sunrise, and with lot of difficulty we climbed and climbed, we thought it was almost like an hour or so, and we thought we've almost covered it because we were not able to see where we were exactly. So again another set of Sherpas were going up, we asked them where we have reached. You just covered 20-30%. The last bit where you see the place where you have to reach, it's around 400 meters, that's it. But it feels like you're going there since ages. It is not your body, it is your mind and your heart that pushes you. It pushes you to an extent that everything, your muscles which are not responding to you, and the altitude where your lungs are not responding to you, and your heart which is not able to pump blood properly, everything takes over and you just walk, and you just walk in one go, and you are there, and that is when you see this sunrise. So this sunrise, as I said earlier also, you would have seen multiple sunrises, but this particular sunrise, because it has a journey, it has a story behind it, you have not seen this sunrise just like that, and you are just one among those few people who have seen such a beautiful sunrise, and that's what makes it very and really very special. So Trek Nomads as a community, we have a very strict, rule that we have created, being a responsible trekker. So when we say responsible trekking, one is of course leaving no trace, kind of a policy that we usually follow. That is for sure, that you shouldn't litter or shouldn't put anything anywhere. And the other part to it is we always carry a biodegradable trash bins with us. It's a cover that we carry. So whenever we are coming down of a trek, so we pick up whatever we can. So there is no compulsion or there is no stress on people that you need to pick this much, you need to pick that much. So it is a small effort. Now just imagine lot of people going into this location where they go as a traveler or as a trekker. So just imagine if every individual starts bringing some part of it, we are actually cleaning it in a way. And of course, the first point I said, we should stop littering. So when we stop and when we pick up whatever it is already been littered there, then we are doing good. Last year, somewhere around August or so, we got connected with an NGO called Mitra for Life. One of the founders, she had come for a Himalayan trek with us, and we had a discussion on how we can enable trekking or introduce trekking to autistic kids. So we decided on understanding their challenges first. So what I did was particularly attended certain workshops with these kids to understand how they react, how they feel, and how they interact with new people when they come around. And surprisingly, it was a very different feeling altogether. The same kids, when they were in the confined space, actually opened up a lot when they were introduced to nature. Interested individual who wants to take or get into trekking as a passion or maybe as an activity to start with. So I would suggest them to start with simple hikes in and around the city, which are like one-day treks. And you climb 5-6 kilometers in a day, come back in the same evening. So what happens is here you will get to know what are the nitty-gritties, like whether those are like small borders, small forest stretch, everything you will get to know. So once you are comfortable here, then you can graduate to your Western Ghats treks, like where you will get into different terrains. You might go into river crossing, you might get into large boulder climbing. So, and the distance also increases. You might go up to 20-25 kilometers in a day. So this is a graduation that will take you to give you a better understanding on how you need to trek, how you need to descend, how you need to ascend. So there are many aspects to it.
The most important aspect of EBC was is preparation. I watched YouTube video to understand what kind of challenge I will face during EBC trekking. Based on that, I started preparing for my own EBC trek. I dedicated my 4 hours every day for my fitness, and I did lots of activity like cycling and swimming. I went to gym and I climbed stairs. So all this focus activity helped me, and always think positive. The moment you start thinking negative, things will go wrong because your brain will play with you.
We started climbing up Kala Patthar up 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was really dark, it was snowing, and Naveen knew the way, so he said, I'll take you up to the Kala Patthar. He was confident, but sometimes confidence gives way to trouble. What happened in the darkness and the snow, the path was lost, and we were lost at 4 o'clock how to go up at the Kala Patthar. Then we saw a group of Europeans, they were with the guide climbing up the Kala Patthar. We are just walking, the peak was in front of us, but tired, panting, and just couldn't walk. But then we gathered all our energy for the last 200 meters and we finally summited. And it was a great feeling sitting on the top, looking at the Everest, which is the goddess of sky, and just getting your dream realized, one of the dream realized. That gave us one of the kick of the life. From there we decided we are going to do all the 7 summits of the 7 continents.
So there is a famous quote by John Muir, you are not in the mountains are in you. What if you are not able to do it? So there are a lot of questions or a lot of disbeliefs in yourself. Now whenever you climb a mountain, you are actually overcoming that small bit of fear and that disbelief, and you are climbing over and above it. So you are actually overcoming that fear and disbelief. So that is the feeling that you will get whenever you summit a mountain.